watches the scoreboard, unlike many others. Li Kongzhen of China.
Same dive. Another great finish. He wasn't quite as straight as Bruce going in the water. So he really shouldn't get quite as high a marks.
He figures to be one of the top guys here who could threaten Greg Louganis for the top spot.
Well, he can do all the same dives that Greg does, and he's probably one of the only divers in the world that can.
So 8s for Li Kongzhen of China. Now, Greg Louganis, he has led since the first dive.
This is an inward 1.5 somersaults pike in the 82 World Championships. He got all 10s on this dive. Oh, just another great dive. You know, Greg's like a bowler that throws strikes after strikes, and whenever he misses, he throws a spare. He never misses by much. You can just see like an arrow going through the water. That gives you an indication of just how high up they are. It's 10 meters up. It's about 33 feet off the water.
And his coach, Ron O'Brien, as they see the marks, 8 5s and 9s for Greg Louganis. That'll be good enough at the time. Keep him in the lead. Gold in that competition. Through 4 rounds of the men's platform, it's the United States 1-2, Louganis and KIMBALL. And now Li Kongzhen, 27, the elder statesman of the Chinese diving team.
That was excellent. He's capable of doing great dives, and he's had some great competitions with Greg Louganis that Greg always seems to win at the end. You know, I mentioned Greg as being like a bowler that throws strikes and when he misses, throws spares. Li Kongzhen is capable of throwing strikes, but he also can blow one completely.
The marks for Kongzhen, 7-5 to 8-5 here.
Excellent scores on a dive that carries a high degree of difficulty. He'll move closer to Greg in the standings.
Now Greg Louganis, the leader. Now, how difficult is this? To me, it looks extremely difficult, but they don't have it that high on the degree of difficulty.
Well, every 10-year-old gymnast can do a handstand. Now, the difference is put yourself 33 feet up with nothing in front of you. So it's pretty difficult to get in the handstand, but the mechanics of the trick that they're doing, the somersaults they're doing off of this, they have rated not as high. Great dive again from Louganis. But each of the divers must do a handstand optional, and each of these divers at this level will do the same optional that Greg's doing. You can see that he only misses the tower by a foot, but goes straight in. This gives you the diver's eye view of somersaulting back toward the platform from 33 feet up. Yeah, you see Greg smiling and happy there with those 8.5s and 9s. Greg has seemed...
We're halfway through the men's platform, and he continues to lead. Kongzhen has moved up to second.
Consistent.
Li Kongzhen in second place through 5 of the 10 dives. High degree of difficulty here, Phil, 3.3.
This is the back direction, and he's chosen to do the most difficult somersaulting optional in the back direction. It's 3.5 somersaults backwards. He and Greg do this. These are the dives that make the difference in a competition. Some big scores.
Now, is there anything at all wrong with this dive? It looks like a perfect 10.
Maybe at the very start he has a little bit of flat feet, falls back just a fraction, but a perfect entry. You can expect a lot of 9s at least on this one. That is a great dive. Will get him a lot of points.
A lot of points because of the high degree of difficulty. 9s were the average, and Coach Ron O'Brien of the United States knows now that the pressure turns to Greg Louganis. A lot of points there for Li Kongzhen.
Well, this really does put the pressure on because they're doing these difficult dives. If he does a couple of them like that, he will be right with Greg to the end of this competition. Now this dive for Greg is a twisting optional. Each of the divers have to do one of these. He's chosen to do a reverse 1.5 somersaults with 3 1/2 twists. It's the most difficult twisting dive any of the divers use in competition. He's taken the pressure well, but that was not as good a dive as Li Kongzhen. You saw the difference in the entry. He had splash on his entry. In the USA International a few months ago, Greg hit the platform with his feet on this dive, got 0 points and dropped to 5th. That competition was won by Li Kongzhen. You can see on this one, he's jumped substantially away from the tower to be safe, but it's not as good a dive.
Boy, the scores, 8s and 8.5s for Louganis, and with the lower degree of difficulty, not nearly as many points in this round as Li Kongzhen. A new leader through 6 of 10 rounds. Li Kongzhen has taken the lead. This is not a position that Greg Louganis is accustomed to being in. 4 dives to go. He's in 2nd place. Leader through 6 dives in the men's platform final, Li Kongzhen of China. Who would have thought that Greg Louganis of the United States would be behind this deep into the competition? He was the biggest lock for a gold medal here in Madrid coming into the competition.
And it's not that Greg's diving poorly. Greg is diving very well. He's being out-dived by the Chinese.
Now Li Kongzhen. He's the leader now. We'll see how he adapts to being in 1st place. Comes right back with a very tough dive. Difficulty factor 3.4.
This is the hardest somersaulting dive in this direction. We saw KIMBALL do reverse 2.5 somersaults. This is reverse 3.5 somersaults. Another good dive. You can see his feet flat on the entry, and they'll take off for that. But it was still a good dive. He's still keeping the pressure on. You can see how his feet are flat. Right as he hits the water, gets a little bit of splash, but that's still a very good dive. That is a lot of dive to finish in 2 seconds.
Ranging from 8 to 9, and again multiplied by that high degree of difficulty. Big points for the leader. Li Kongzhen of China has upped that lead to 23 points. Only 3 dives to go, and Greg Louganis, arguably the greatest diver of all time, trails in the competition. Li Kongzhen of China pulling the upset at the moment. We'll be right back. It's team. And Greg Louganis with a lower degree of difficulty. Still, it's a 3.2 DD here. He would need almost a perfect dive to overtake the leader.
And this is the most difficult somersaulting dive you can do in this direction. It's in toward the platform. He's capable of it, but at our national championships 2 weeks ago, he missed this dive. Ooh, that's a little bit short of vertical there, too. Got a lot of splash. The judges are going to take off for that. Kongzhen is going to increase his lead. You can see it's described as 3 1/2 somersaults. He has to be all the way straight, and he is not straight when he hits the water.
7s and 7.5s for Louganis. So he will not stay up to the standard set before him by Li Kongzhen.
Well, he's going to drop over 20 points behind on that dive.
Going into this round, he was 6 points down. Li Kongzhen, he is still the leader here. We're in the 8th round. 10 dives in all.
This is an inward 3 1/2 somersaults. This is the one Louganis did in the last round for 6.5s and 7s and dropped 20 points back. It's on your toes, 33 feet up, somersaulting 3 1/2 times towards the platform. Oh, that's a complete miss. You can see how fast he spins. He actually somersaults faster than Louganis. That's Louganis' mother watching that. Watch how fast he somersaults. Almost 2 at the platform. Let's go early. Total over rotation and enough splash to wet the 5-meter.
Yes, high tide in Madrid. The pressure starting to mount here. We've seen everyone miss their dive in this round except for KIMBALL.
Well, again, it's a little bit like somebody bowling. You got to keep throwing strikes to win, especially when this man is the competition.
Coach Ron O'Brien looking on. Good dive here for Louganis, could put him back in front.
Back in the lead. That was 3.5 somersaults pike. It just looked like he was out for a Sunday stroll. He makes these difficult dives look easy. Power and grace, that dance training he's had, makes them look easy. And another great entry.
8 5s and 9s for Greg Louganis. Right when he needed it.
You can hear the whistles from the crowd. They think it was better than that.
Well, the New Zealand judge gave him a 7-5.
Well, he did spin a little bit slow, but it was a great dive.
So Li Kongzhen now falls back into second, and Greg Louganis has taken back the lead. What a round it was for the Americans. 2 dives to go.
And his coach telling him, look like you missed your hands a little bit on the entry.
All right, now just 2 dives to go. Kongzhen obviously needs to put the pressure back on Louganis with a big one here.
Well, he needs to put the pressure on in 2 ways. He's doing a much lower degree of difficulty dive than Greg, so he's got to do the dive perfect just to stay even. You can see Ron O'Brien smiling, knowing that Greg is in good position right now. A great handstand. And he's a little bit off on that one, too. You can see flat feet and a little bit of splash back toward the platform. There, he's perfect. Little flat feet while he's somersaulting, and watch when he hits, he flattens them again, and they kick over. He over-rotates.
Marks ranging from a 6-5 to an 8. He needed better than that, though. 9th round.
What that's going to do, open the door for Kimball to move into silver medal position.
Now, Louganis, difficulty factor 3.3. A big one here. Really put him in great shape going into the final dive.
The only thing that makes it interesting at this point is the fact that Greg is doing these difficult dives. He still has to do them well. That will put him comfortably in the lead.
What a great jump he got off the platform here, Phil.
Well, he's noted for his great jump. He doesn't spin nearly as fast as the Chinese divers, but a big jump and a controlled spin. He watches 1, 2, 3, kicks out, and is straight in.
Well, the smile on his face tells the story. It was in the next to last dive in the springboard that really locked up the competition there. And here another big one with only 1 dive to go. Louganis has, well, even his mother can figure it out now. He has taken a huge lead. 36 points in front of Li Kongzhen. Bruce Kimball is in medal contention. Back after these messages and a word from your local stations. Go in the men's platform final. Greg Louganis has come back strong to take a big lead. Bruce Kimball, however, of the United States, he has moved up to 3rd, but he has got to be feeling the pressure. He wants that silver medal here.
In the Olympics, he was able to come back in his final dive and take that silver medal. You can see Greg looks pretty relaxed right now. He's just performing now. He knows he's got a comfortable lead.
Is it good enough for a silver or a bronze? This man holds the answer to that.
And he's saved for his final dive a twisting optional also. Only Li Kongzhen and Greg Louganis do reverse 1.5 somersaults with 3 1/2 twists. You saw Kimball do it backwards. It was 3.2 degree of difficulty. This is 3.3. Your silver medalist, at least.
Xu Yingming, Ron O'Brien. Different thoughts running through their minds. O'Brien knows now that Louganis must execute. Good scores for Li Kongzhen, over 80 points.
The pressure on Greg Louganis is not to do a great dive, but to complete a dive. His final dive is 3.4 degree of difficulty. We know it's the dive the Soviet diver died on in Canada a few years ago. He must complete the dive.
Último salto de la competición. Last dive of this competition. Salta Gregory Louganis.
Mom's looking on. You know, I get the feeling Greg really enjoys being in this position right here.
He's performing. This is Greg Louganis at his best when he's in this position. There's gold.
Another gold medal for Greg Louganis. They don't even have to wait to see the scores on that one. Dr. Sammy Lee in the background. Ron O'Brien, his coach for the last 10 years. Double gold for Greg Louganis, his 5th World Championship. He adds on to an incredible resume that is already second to no one in diving history. Today, the mark of a true champion as he comes from behind to win the gold. Bronze for Bruce Kimball. And we'll be back to Madrid in just a moment. Swimming on this, the final day of competition. The Spaniards have embraced these championships, and they're hoping for more. They're hoping for the Olympics in 1992. Our CBS Sports colleague, Ann Butler, has more on sports.